think Ed Brand is the sort of guy who, if he thought that he was not capable of winning the championship, would think, well, I will still make that extra effort to win this race. I just want to make a point. He's going to start on the front row with the poleman Charlie Eastwood. On row 2, Philip Maureen will start with Harry Webb. Row 3, Piers Lehane and Kyle Fowley. Row 4, Martin Henkel Mortensen and Michael Kuhl. Row 5, the most impressive lady driver from France, Eva Benez, starts on the inside of row 5 in cart 240. She shares row 5 with the former world champion Luke Varley, cart 279. Charlie Turner and Ollie Norris are an all-British row 6. Maximilian Weinzierl and Oliver Myers are row 7. The American driver Jack Weprin from upstate New York is on row 8 alongside Connor Jupp, who starts a race on the middle of the grid rather than at the back as he did in all of his heats. An all-French 9th row sees Antoine Lepecoeur and Nicolas Picot, and the top 20 is completed by Ludwig Morin and Lucas Blazkowski. Frenchman Vincent Fraisse is on row 11 with the Belgian Glenn van Parijs. Tobias Home is on row 12 with the second of our lady drivers. France will be starting on row 13. Jules Cousin, the recently crowned French champion, will feel he's got a point to prove, looking for forward progress from pilot number 264. He shares row 13 with Petra Betzel. Row 14, the impressive newcomer Christian Loft alongside another Frenchman, Kevin Petit. Just behind them on row 15, Nicholas Tihonen and Jan Jonk came here via the last chance race. Row 16, Juuso Pukalainen and Dan Roper likewise. And Xavier Pazzoli, another Frenchman, shares row 17 with the recently promoted Abdullah Al-Rawahi from Oman completing the grid. Chris, it's interesting when we read the drivers at the back, but the sharp end is where it's really going to happen. Charlie Eastwood and Ed Brand on the front row in particular.
3 wins yesterday for Charlie Eastwood and a 3rd place finish and fastest laps and fastest in qualifying. He's looking very strong this weekend. Trouble is, there are 5 or 6 drivers that are also looking very strong in this class. It's so competitive. So Charlie Eastwood, number 2, 3, 4, the green and white colours, the orange and green helmet, on pole position. Ed Brand with the dark race suit in cart 202. The intrepid driver starts second with the pink colours on his helmet. Charlie for Strawberry Racing on the Tony kart. Philip Marine for Dan Holland Racing with the blue race suit. The silver helmet starts on the inside of row 2. And Harry Webb in the Tony kart colours, also for Strawberry Racing, number 222. Championship leader, starts 4th. Difference, easy way to spot them online. Charlie and Harry. Harry has got the red race gloves. As the race gets underway, we go in the pre-final of the seniors, charging towards the first corner, and it's Charlie Eastwood that's got the lead of the race. Philip Marine is in 2nd place. Piers Lehane has gone 3rd. We've got 1 or 2 off at the first corner from further down. Somebody's gone off at turn 2 as well, but it's Charlie Eastwood that leads from Philip Marine. Piers Lehane is 3rd. Ed Brand is 4th. Harry Webb is there in 5th position. It looks like Carl Fowley, I think, in 6th place.
Connor Jupp we lost at the first turn after all the hard work he's done to get here, Chris.
Real shame for Connor Jupp, who had to start from the back in all the heats yesterday. Fought so hard to get a decent grid, but I'm afraid he's got embroiled in a first corner incident. Somebody else off at the second corner. 1 or 2 others were caught up in all of that as well, but it was from the second half of the field. The front half of the field, you just seen them running through the shot there, and this first of 13 laps, and Philip Maureen is charging on now to the tail of the race leader, Charlie Eastwood, as they go towards the hairpin for the first time, and he goes for a move. Up the inside, Philip Maureen leads. He's into the lead. Charlie Eastwood 2nd. Piers Lehane in 3rd position. Harry Webb just watching about a cart length back in 4th place. Bit of a slide on there from Piers Lehane. I think he just tagged the back of Charlie Eastwood. Charlie points to his head. Use your brains, he said. Let's not fight each other just yet. They're all still surviving. In Ed Brand, you've got 5th place. And then in 6th position, it was Carl Fowley. Martin Henkel Mortensen, who could also still win the title, is there in 7th position. And in 8th place, Luke Varley, Michael Kuhl and Ludwig Morin also inside the top 10. The leaders go through the chicane and back down towards the turn 7, the right-hander, with the race leader now being Philip Marine. Charlie Eastwood, though, has the advantage over his nearest rival in the points, Harry Webb, who's in 4th place and looking quite calm and cool and not getting embroiled in anything just yet, Ken.
Well, those that did get embroiled in things include Jack Weprin, who's out absolutely. Connor Jupp has got going, but half a minute behind everybody else. Oliver Myers, Jess Backman and Maxi Weinzil were also in the wars there. Glenn Paris likewise. Sorry to mention a negative note. They're in trouble, but Philip Maureen, Charlie Eastwood, Pierce Lehane taking your attention.
Okay, so through they come, and watch as well for Luke Varley, number 279, who's getting in the mix now, getting onto the tail of Ed Brand. Through the yellow flag zone, they come at turn 2. No overtaking there. Green flags waved on the way to the next turn. And Luke Varley's gone for the move on the way into turn 2. He took his opportunity. He's got ahead of Ed Brand. So he leads that second group of karts now. Top 5 together. Then a bit of a break to 6th place. And Luke Varley ahead of Ed Brand now. You can see them coming through. There at the head of the second group is Luke Varley. Ed Brand having a look back at the inside. This is not going according to plan for Ed. Ed would really want to go out and try and win this race to try and keep his title hopes realistically alive. They'll still be alive, but he wants them to... He got a big bridge to gap, hasn't he? Big bridge to try and close, and he needs to get ahead and score lots more points than all those ahead of him, and he's not doing that at the moment. He's losing out to them. So Philip Marine leads. Charlie Eastwood still second. Pierce Lehane in 3rd position. Stan Holland Racing versus Strawberry Racing at the moment. They're filling the top 5 places. Harry Webb 4th. Carl Fowley just off the back of that group in 5th position as they go through to start 4th lap of the race with 0.3 of a second the advantage now for the race lead again.
Some really good drivers in that second group behind the top 5, aren't they? And they're actually doing a trade of plate. No, that didn't quite come off. Luke Varley was the leader of those, as you say.
Oh, Tangle with 2 of them. Pierce Lehane's gone off. That is coming out of turn 4. And the other, one of our front runners, is Harry Webb. Harry Webb has gone off with Pierce Lehane. Tangled together, and that's the championship leader in strife. He gets going again, but Pierce Lehane is stranded. So that means Maureen, Eastwood and Fowley will now be the top 3, and they'll be miles clear of the rest. So drama there. They didn't look that close together at the start of the lap, really, did they, Ken? So that suddenly came from nowhere.
Well, I certainly wasn't looking at it. I just heard Jill squeal and saw them where they were, and hard to understand where that did come from. But the pressure at the front on Philip Maureen is going to be coming from Charlie Eastwood, because a little bit further detached now, Kyle Fowley. He was the real beneficiary of that one, wasn't he? Coming round with 9 laps to go. Philip Maureen's lead over Charlie Eastwood, 0.4 of a second. Kyle Fowley promoted to 4th, and that's not done Luke Varley any harm. What happened to Pierce Lehane and Harry Webb? He's now running in 4th place in front of Michael Cool 5th, and Ed Brand, who you quite rightly said was not where he wanted to be, has got the unexpected promotion to 5th.
So Harry Webb rejoined in 28th position. Absolute disaster for him. But what we will also need to bear in mind is drop scores. It might become one of his drop scores. Is that Ludwig Maureen getting completely sideways, I think, coming out through turn 7. Must have had a tag, and he somehow rescued it. He's lost a few places, but he should have been headed off to the barriers, and a big slide. He just about held the cart and got it pointed roughly in the right direction. So, and again, it's a case in point of a Sunday not going that well or as well for Pierce Lehane when you just think he's going to get up to the podium here. Something doesn't quite work out for him. So real drama here. And Martin Henkel Mortensen has dropped back as well, hasn't he? Another championship contender down in 10th position, I'm afraid. And
going up to 8th as we speak.
Yes, he's started to recover now at the start of this lap. So the race leader is Philip Marine, on for 34 points, but he's quite was he 11 points behind? No, 7 points behind Charlie Eastwood. He's only scoring 1 more point than him, but he's still keeping himself in the hand here. Charlie Eastwood will, I think, probably know what's happened to Harry Webb. He might well have seen what happened when he came past on the next lap, and certainly second place could be all he needs now just to keep things calm. So Charlie Eastwood there in second place, looking pretty solid.
The option's there, isn't it?
Yeah.
He can decide, I want to go for a pole start in the final, or I'll play the percentage game, so long as I know that Kyle Fowley is not about to make a challenge to me. This is the 6th lap of a 13-lap pre-final, so we're heading towards the half-race distance. So although Charlie has that option, can't be too extravagant with it. But yes, I agree with you. It was 0.50 of a second behind. He's now 0.54 of a second. So Charlie not getting any closer to Philip. But Kyle Fowley in 3rd place is, according to the naked eye, getting a little bit closer there. through turn 4 and onto the first part of the back straight ahead of Luke Varley and Michael Cool. Incidentally, the Frenchman Nicolas Picot, who had a bit of a disappointment earlier on, having gone so well in the heats yesterday, he's handily placed in 6th place. He's having gone past Ed Brand.
Harry Webb's got to go like the clappers now. He's just got 1 place back, but it wasn't without contact when he went past into turn 2. A little bit of wheel rubbing between the 2 drivers. It was the 328 card of Christian Loft that he got past. So he's up to 27th place. He has got a queue ahead of him, so he can pick up 5 or 6 places between now and the end of the race. And every single point might just count for something. So he's just got to do what he can now, Harry Webb, and try and somehow keep calm and channel the frustration that no doubt he's got. So 6 laps to go. Philip Maureen leads the race. But look at Carl Fowley. Carl can still win the championship. Carl, he's gone for 2nd place on the way into turn 2 and he's pulled it off. Carl Fowley goes 2nd here at Salbris ahead of Charlie Eastwood. So Carl Fowley continuing his forwards progress. He's done so much overtaking in the last 2 days. It's unreal, isn't it, after qualifying? So really good drive by him. Luke Varley also going great guns in 4th place. And Michael Cool having easily his best result of the season. He's been on form all weekend long and he's there in 5th place with Martin Henkel-Mortensen in 6th place now.
Well, Michael Cool having his best race, for my opinion, for 2 or 3 years. Best season for a couple of years and best race weekend. Martin Henkel-Mortensen. It's funny, isn't it? The high standards he's set himself is in 6th place in the pre-final. Can't really complain about that. And yet, we think he's not having quite as good a race weekend as he has been having. He's in front of PK7, Yan Yong, who has repaired the damage of early on, into 8th place via the last chance race.
Very good.
And Jill pointing out a black flag. Oh, Harry Webb's got a black flag. Harry Webb trying to undo or mend the damage, undo the harm, has picked up a black flag, possibly in the incident that was described to you by Chris. And Dan Roper in kart 327 has the same fate. Out of the race on a black flag DQ, Harry Webb. Out of the race on a black flag DQ, Dan Roper.
And they must be separate incidents because they're not that close together on the circuit, are they? So they are being watched, and that is complete disaster now for Harry Webb. It's going to become his drop score, I would imagine, though, isn't it? No, he can't, because he's disqualified. Yeah, no, he's disqualified.
That's of mega significance in championship terms. Mega significance.
That's right. Yes, no, you can't include that as a drop score. You're absolutely right. So that Charlie Eastwood has benefited hugely from that, as has Philip Marine, the race leader, as has Carl Fowley. So these are the 3 most likely now to be battling for the championship, aren't they? At the top 3 in the race. Ludwig Morin goes through. 4 laps to go. Carl Fowley is 2nd. Carl Fowley's the one that's trying to play catch-up in the points. So Carl Fowley is the one that's going to go for the moves, isn't he? Surely. He's onto the tail of the Swede. Now he goes for the move on the way into turn 3, and he's done it. Carl Fowley leads the race here at Salbris. At the end of his first season of racing, he's in the lead in the pre-final. He takes them through the chicane. There he is. Carl Fowley leads. Philip Morin in 2nd place. Charlie Eastwood had a look at the inside, but stays in 3rd place at the end of the back straight. Michael Cool is now 4th, by the way. He's got ahead of Luke Varley on the previous lap. Henkel-Mortensen 6th. Pico is 7th. Charlie Turner 8th. Jan Junk, a brilliant drive through to 9th. Petra Betzel is 10th. And Ed Brand just off colour in this race. I wonder if he's got a problem because he's down in 11th place.
Yeah, not going too quickly. He's in the 64s when the leaders are in the 62s. But just going back to that move, I don't debit Philip Morin with having done an awful lot wrong. You've just got to praise the Flying Scotsman, haven't you? Because Kyle Fowley executed that move beautifully and he's got himself to the front at a very handy time. This is the beginning of lap 11 of a 13-lap pre-final. Now, Philip Morin, as you say, the championship leader on total scores. If they finish in this order, he'd start the final on the outside of the front row. Does Charlie Eastwood, if he's thinking, does he want inside row 2 start for the final rather than the outside of the front row? And if he does, how many championship points does that ship? It's another 3 points gone, isn't it? But Charlie Eastwood, no doubt as a racer, will be thinking, no, I think what I'll really try to do is in the next 2.5 laps pass both of these guys in front of me. But it's a tall order. Kyle Fowley going really, really well.
Well, on drop scores coming into this, Philip Morin is 7 points behind Charlie Eastwood. He's ahead of him now by a place, so that will reduce to 6 points. And Kyle Fowley who's fourth in the standings coming into this one. He's 9 points coming into this race behind Charlie Eastwood. He's winning. Charlie's third, so that will reduce down to, what, 7 points. So
well, now, if my supposition was in Charlie's head, if he had the maths in front of him, he could say, hey, I'll just sit here and I'll start the final on the inside of the second row. It's going well for me, even though I'm in third place of the three, as Philip just had a quick peep.
He's in a position where he doesn't necessarily need to win the race.
Exactly
or
that.
beat them to win the championship.
Correct.
But they are getting close to him. There's not much, is it? 7 points covering 3 drivers. So real drama with that exclusion for Harry Webb. Didn't see the incident starting, but it was between him and Pierce Lane, when Pierce and he were presumably battling over what was 4th place. Pierce had started the race, or the lap, in 4th position. Harry was trying to get through. Sorry, the battle for 3rd, wasn't it? And Carl Fowley able to benefit from all of that, going from 5th to 3rd in one fell swoop, and now has made progress into the lead of the race. Just a lap and a half to go on. Not even that, actually, a lap and a corner to go, and it is Carl Fowley that still leads the way through. That shot they come. You'll see them on the next shot coming over the start-finish line. They're in 4th place, Michael Cool. Luke Varley just behind him on screen. Henkel Mortensen and Pico are closing up, though. They're on to the final lap of the race. Carl Fowley leads. Philip Marine is second. They all need as many points as they can get, especially, though, I would say the top two. Charlie Eastwood is the one who can just take stock here for a moment if he needs to, as they go with half a lap to go, Ken.
Well, just picking up what you've just said, the guy who really could on all counts make the move that he would want to would be Philip Maureen. Not only extra championship points, but start the final from pole position. I can't believe that Philip Maureen will sit happily there if he's presented an opportunity by Kyle Fowley. Charlie Eastwood may well feel, I'll sit where I am, and if you two do anything silly, I'll mop up. But Kyle Fowley kicks for home. We're on the inside of the first of the 2 straights. The turn 13 hairpin. Kyle Fowley looks in control of this one. The body language from the following drivers is not that they're in a position to attack. The Scotsman's going to come home for the victory. The pre-final is won by Kyle Fowley. In 2nd place, Philip Maureen. 3rd, the world champion, Charlie Eastwood. And a good drive by Michael Cool into 4th in the pre-final. Return to form for the 2009 world champion, Luke Varley. Martin Henkel Mortensen 6, Nicola Pico 7, Charlie Turner up into 8th, Peter Betzel 9th, and a top 10 finish for Jan Jonk, the Danish driver who had to negotiate the last chance race this morning. And just for a tiny little aside, Abdullah Al-Rawahi a couple of hours ago thought that he was out of things. He's just finished 15th and will start the final in 8th place. An interesting sport we support, Chris Hartley.
Yeah, interesting indeed. So, well, real drama here already today. We had drama before the day started, didn't we, one thing or another, but drama there in that race. This is the one we always thought there was going to be some drama because it's so fiercely contested, the seniors. Yeah, we didn't think it was going to come just yet, and it was at a point just before that. I was just saying how Harry Webb looked like he was sort of sitting pretty in 4th place, letting them get on with it, and then it all kicked off. So it'll be a very unhappy Harry Webb and a very unhappy Pierce Lehane at the end of that race. But that has really ruined Harry Webb's chances now. Not necessarily the fact that he dropped to the back, but the fact that he then got excluded and he has to now count that as a result towards his total points has really thrown it out of his hands. And it means that, in all likelihood, it's going to be between Charlie Eastwood, Philip Marine, and now you can throw very much into that equation Carl Fowley. Only 6th in the standings on total points, but 4th on drop scores before that race, and now he'll move up, I reckon, into the top 3. There it is then, confirmation of the results. Carl Fowley taking the win in the pre-final, and what a time to bring out a result like that. He follows up what was a great run in Britain, where he finished in 2nd place in the final, got onto the podium. So a podium followed by a win in a pre-final. He is, you could argue, the driver on form, Carl Fowley. He wins by 0.161 seconds. Philip Marine turning his weekend around after slight frustrations for him and the team in test days. When it comes to the crunch, Philip Marine is back up there in the mix. He pulls back a point on Charlie Eastwood. I reckon they'll all be covered by just about 7 points, the 3 of them. We'll do the maths over the lunch break. And Charlie Eastwood, though, in the box seat, Charlie Eastwood is going to go into that final as the championship leader. No doubt about that. Fourth place was Michael Cool. Luke Varley with a great run through to fifth place. Martin Henkel-Mortensen, always, it seems, in the top six, in sixth place there. He finished in seventh place then. Was Pico Turner, Charlie Turner in eighth place. Petra Betzel and Jan Jonk in ninth and 10th positions. Jan Jonk doing well to come through from the last chance race. There's confirmation of the rest of the results. Ed Brand finished down in 16th place in the end, so I wonder if he had some sort of damage from that first lap or a problem with the kart. So that's Ed Brand's possibilities of winning the championship, I think, now gone as well, and it boils us down to just the three of them. Carl Fowley, incidentally, also getting the fastest lap of the race. Right, we're going to go into our lunch break now, which for some of us is going to become a mathematical examination now. We're going to try and work out points and things. But